It's time for the final word in sports all across the state. You're listening to Sports Talk with your hosts, Phil Kornbluth, Will Pelagic, and the Professor Tom Hayes. You've been waiting all day. So join the show now by calling 800-956-7266.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here on a Tuesday night. Your favorite 2 hours of the day about to unfold into your ears as we continue on the Palmetto Pigskin Tour tonight. The stop is at wild and wonderful and beautiful Newberry College in the great burg of Newberry. Already been visiting with our good friend, the AD here at Newberry, the one and only Ralph Patterson. Always fun to talk with Ralph about things in the sports world. Coming up tonight, we'll hear from the Newberry Wolves as they're getting ready for their season, hoping to bounce back from a 5-6 campaign. Coach Todd Knight will be with us, the standout linebacker out of Dillon County, out of Dillon High School, the one-time USC commit, Joe Blue, and their outstanding receiver, Markel Castle, who had a one-handed catch a couple of years ago that was highlighted on, of all places, ESPN. So he got some national fame out of that. Looking forward to visiting with the Wolves tonight here on Sports Talk. And, of course, our continued coverage of USC and Clemson football in the preseason, plus plenty of other notes to talk about tonight, including the first of the high school football preseason polls from the media across the state. We'll tell you about that as well. Our phone number, 800-956-7266. Got time and room for your phone calls here in the opening minutes of the program, 800-956-7266. Our email, talkback@sportstalksc.com. Always love to hear from you via email and on Twitter. Sign up and follow us on our Twitter feed at SportsTalkSC. You can also communicate with us there as well. We have Will Pelagic and the Professor Tom Hayes back at the studios in downtown Columbia. In fact, Will is no longer a Darlington virgin. Made his first trip to the Lady in Black today. What'd you think?
It's fun, man. I'm getting excited for it. It was great to see all who were assembled today, from the governor and various politicians connected with the community there, and obviously our friend Kerry Tharp, who we'll hear from later on the program. The renovations, I can tell you, I have nothing else to base them on other than what I've seen on television from the racetrack, but it looks great. Some of the finishing touches are being put on the seats, which I can confirm are wide enough for both of our behinds. So that's one thing I can confirm, because I think yours is maybe a little bit smaller than mine. So,
well, let me go on record as saying that I have never actually stopped to look or measure your backside, so okay. I don't really know what you're talking about.
Okay, understood there. But from the standpoint of the way it looks good. Got a chance to even see Elliott Sadler drive the governor around the racetrack a little bit, and he was threatening a little bit of the wall there, and he was talking just about the uniqueness of the racetrack, how much he always hopes that there's a race here in the state of South Carolina. And the one thing I think you did see is you saw the support from the state legislature and how important that this race is to the state. And the fact of the matter is that while people had been even saying whether or not this was something of a capital improvement from the standpoint of it was going to cost South Carolinians money, it's not going to, because it's tax breaks that they're going to get for the folks at Darlington and their parent company. Basically, they'll be able to spend the kind of money that adds up to about $10 million of tax breaks, $7 million of which were spent on the renovations that will be completed before the Labor Day race this year. Really is a win-win for South Carolinians who not only love this sport, but see the important economic impact of this event that comes every year.
And does it look like they're going to be finished on time?
From what they say, I mean, there's still some hammering and banging and all that stuff going around. So it's not like it's complete today. They said they got 19 days, and they plan to work feverishly, really 18 until the Xfinity race on Saturday, and of course all the practice events that will take place in advance of that. But they seem to be confident that it will look as cosmetic as can be come the Bojangles Southern 500.
That's good. That's good news to hear. 800-956-7266 is our phone number. So Clemson today Now, USC did not practice today. They got the day off. They'll pick it back up in the morning. And Clemson had another little, what you might call mini scrimmage today. They've been very busy getting after it against one another.
They had what you would designate as a situational scrimmage. This was more to go over some of the late game situations, 2-minute drill, 4-minute offense, things of that nature. And they really try to simulate these things as best they can in the facet of trying to get the quarterbacks and the receivers and the defensive players in position to make plays at the end of ball games. They went through some of the end of game, kicking operations and stuff too. Greg Hugel got some rave reviews from Dabo Swinney. It was more of an evenly matched scrimmage, according to what the head coach said, compared to Saturday, where it was offensively dominant in the defense, and Brent Venables looked like you had kicked his dog after that scrimmage. But the defensive players got the better run of play, at least for more of the run on Tuesday, and the quarterbacks, a lot of missed throws from all three. Still didn't get a clear cut on where there's a leader, or if there is a leader in the clubhouse, including the fact that Dabo Swinney said at the end, well, why don't I just invite you all into the offensive meeting room and just tweet out the grades right there, and that way you can stop asking me. So he's a little testy.
For that.
He's a little testy, I think, but here's the problem. And Pro, you said this to me earlier. He created this problem. He created this problem by the fact that, hey, they still want to keep this competition going.
Well, it scares you. As I say, I compare it to the National Football League. When a guy walks off the street, you give him a tryout, and he's a better quarterback than your number one pick. And then you say, wait a minute, we got to play the number one pick. Well, when you pump up a quarterback so much, people want to see him. Put him in, tear the cellophane off, and let's see what he can do. I'm wondering if the coaching staff, we always talk about getting the quarterback good on good, playing against the first team defense. It wouldn't a better test be to take all the third stringers and then put the quarterback in there with the other team's first team and see what they can do?
That's the one thing that they said on Saturday is they played all three quarterbacks with all three groups, and even in the period and the availability that we had from Dabo yesterday that we weren't able to get on the air because it happened so late. But he said last night that Kelly's done nothing to lose the job. Trevor's done nothing to lose ground. The guy who's probably improved the most is Chase Bryce. So from that perspective, you could say that this is going to go into the season. This is not going to be something that ends August the 21st or September the 1st. We're going to be talking about this jockeying for position well into the season.
No question about it. 800-956-7266 is our phone number. Lines are open. We invite your phone calls, your input here tonight on Sports Talk. A few things to talk about. First of all, coming out of Clemson, and we were all blindsided by this story because all of us in the media in South Carolina who've covered Clemson have known Sammy Blackman I've known him for 30 years. Newer people have known him ever since they've gotten here. You don't go to Clemson and not meet Sammy Blackman and get to know him and get to like him. And so he's caught up in a bit of a mess up at Clemson with the latest story coming out today that he's charged with a felony in connection with missing university property. And we've got a more detailed story from the Charleston Post and Courier a few minutes ago from Grace Rayner, who covers Clemson for the paper. And she goes into a little bit more detail about everything that's being alleged up there. But Blackman, a university employee for over 30 years, and the assistant AD for video and technology, Richard Bagby, told a university police officer that he noticed that the athletic department was missing various types of video recording equipment that added up to nearly $4,000 worth of merchandise. He said he suspected Blackman was responsible. He told police there was an eBay account selling similar units with a username that led him to believe the account belonged to Blackman. Then last week on the 7th, Blackman allegedly took and carried away a video decimator from the athletic department by concealing it under his shirt before he left a storage room in Jervey. And police documents say the incident was recorded on a covert video recording device that had been placed in the room due to recurring thefts. He is free on bond. I understand from talking to some folks today that he plans to sign up for pretrial intervention and hopes that he can get into that program to resolve this issue. All right, we'll be back with more in just a moment.
Sports Talk is the sports talk show of Main Street, South Carolina. From the coast to the mountains, we cover it all.
Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network. Our Palmetto Pigskin preview continues today at Newberry. Thursday, we are at Presbyterian College.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? I thought you said. I thought I saw the 16th on our schedule.
Yeah, that was a mistake on my part.
Ooh.
Well, in that case, we are tomorrow at Presbyterian.
Yes.
So you're leaving
Thursday. Thursday's the golf outing with the Citadel people.
Okay.
They want somebody just a little bit removed from the PGA Tour to compete in their tournament.
So they didn't. So it means they didn't ask you, is what you're telling me.
No, it's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you they called me first and said, "Come on down."
You're more than a little bit removed from the PGA Tour. So
this is true.
So you mean you're going to leave me and Captain Billy Downer by ourselves on Wednesday? Is that what you're telling me?
Probably so.
Well,
I think you guys can handle it as I make my way back from wonderful, beautiful Clinton.
I do want to mention our poll question, which you can find at SportsTalkSC.com. The question is simply, based on the way camp has gone so far, who will start at quarterback for Clemson? 79% of those who are polling in, really, if you round it up, it's more like 80%, say Kelly Bryant will start week 1 against Furman. Trevor Lawrence at 20%. And you can continue to vote on that at SportsTalkSC.com or chime in at our hotline, 800-956-7266. Just to put a bow on the Sam Blackman story, Corn. And I saw this. I was up at Clemson over the weekend, and I won't purport to know him to the level that you or others do, but just in the limited amount of exposure I've had with him, this seems like a very out of character allegation and an accusation. And you mentioned that you had gotten some information about him trying to go through some pretrial intervention, and I really hope that that's granted, because this is a guy who, if you can say something about a man, blemishless, you could say from the standpoint of at least anything we know publicly, it just seems like this is an unfortunate situation that hopefully can get a peaceful resolution.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said before, people who know Sammy just totally shocked by this, and I have been dumbfounded since the story first appeared at the end of last week. And hopefully this will have a happy ending for all. They'll get their equipment back, and he'll get some relief legally from this and can go on. I mean, he gave Clemson more than 30 years of his life as a student and as a employee, working diligently and countless hours in the athletic department, doing whatever he was asked to do. He worked with a variety of sports. So this is, it's a shocker that somebody like this is caught up in a little bit of a situation. But hoping for the best here for everybody involved, and everybody will go home happy, and this will be totally resolved. High school football preseason poll out from the media across the state, which vote on this. And so in 5A, Dutch Fork got all 15 first-place votes. Dorman was second, Gaffney third, Fort Dorchester fourth, and T.L. Hanna fifth. Spartanburg, Spring Valley, Hillcrest, Somerville, Berkeley round out your top 10. 4A, it's South Point, number 1 with 12 first-place votes. Hartsville got 3. Greer is third. Belton, Honeypath, and Myrtle Beach tied for 4th. Then it's North Myrtle, Greenville, Westwood, South Aiken, and York. In 3A, Dillon got all 15 votes. Emerald 2, Gilbert 3, Chester 4, and Chapman 5. Then it's Strom Thurmond, Newberry, Broome, Seneca, and Fairfield Central.
Go ahead, Corn.
Yeah.
I wanted to
break
forth,
in, yes.
Well, I wanted to put forth somebody from Darlington who was from Dillon County wanted me to tell you that Dillon is still better than Latta. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I assume he's a friend of yours.
Well, I have an idea of who you're talking about, and I think he's been sniffing too much gas around the garage area there at Darlington.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Suffered
some brain issues there. In 2A, Abbeville got all 15 votes, and it's Barnwell, Carvers Bay, Bamberg, Earhart, and Saluda. Then Timberland, Southside Christian, Batesburg, Leesville, and Lee Central tied for 8th, and Well Branch at number 10. And then in 1A, Lamar got all the votes, followed by Lakeview, Rich Spring, Monetta, Wilson, Elko, Hemingway, C.E. Murray, Baptist Hill, Wagner, Sally, Dixie, how about that, and McCormick at number 10. A reminder, the high school season gets underway Thursday with a few games in the state and then a bunch of games on Friday for week 0. Why the high school league? We come up with this every year. Why the high school league continues to call the first week of the season week 0. I mean, just go through whatever the last week is, and if that's 16 or whatever, identify it as week 16, but start with week 1.
There was somebody who was a newspaper editor in the upstate, or I think it was either the upstate or Spartanburg or somewhere, that said that the majority of their teams that they cover are all playing during next week. So why are we calling it week 0? I thought of you because I thought of you and David Shelton about that.
Well, I mean, it started out with just a few games being played that first week, and so they called it week 0. But now you look at the schedule. I mean, it's
full.
It's almost everybody's playing that first week. So I don't understand the reluctance to change it to something that makes a little more sense. USC today announced its non-SEC basketball schedule, and Frank Martin said it's the toughest one they've had. And I think he's probably justified in saying so. They will have an exhibition game on October 26th against Augusta. And then on November 6th, they'll open up against Dave Dickerson. His first game at Upstate will be against his good friend, Frank Martin. USC Upstate will come to Columbia November 6th. November 9th, they play Stony Brook in the Hall of Fame tip-off. And November 13th, Norfolk State. Those are in Columbia, Hall of Fame tip-off. And then the 17th, Providence up at the Mohegan Sun Arena, part of the Hall of Fame tip-off, and then either George Washington or Michigan in that event. Then November 26th, they get Wofford at home. November 30th, Coastal Carolina at home. December 5th, they go to Wyoming. December 8th, they go to Michigan. December 19th, home to Virginia. December 22nd, home to Clemson. December 31st, home to North Greenville. And then January 26th at Oklahoma State in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. So that stretch, you look at that stretch really starting with Wofford and Coastal and Wyoming and Michigan and Virginia and Clemson. That's a pretty good stretch there for non-league games.
I think they have those two at the end of November. It's the Wyoming and Michigan in the same week with the road trips there that concerns me, and then you go home and you play a suffocating Virginia defense and a Clemson team who you haven't beaten in a couple of years. That 4-game stretch, we'll find out a lot about this team, and we'll also find out, when they're in Uncasville, Connecticut, because Providence is no slouch out of the Big East. George Washington is his team that can certainly challenge them if it comes out that way. And Michigan, that'd be the first of the 2 meetings against them. So that's interesting. And I'm interested, with the little connection there with the home opener with USC Upstate. I'm wondering if there was any incentive on Frank's son going to USC Upstate and them getting a scheduled game there, Corn.
Probably not.
No?
I couldn't see the fact that they would use that as a negotiating ploy in getting a basketball game. I wouldn't think. Maybe I'm totally wrong there.
Just a suggestion. I'm not saying that happened. I'm just saying.
I mean, I know it's a thought, but I don't think it's a very wise thought, to be quite honest with you. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, you might be hitting on something there. Maybe he said, "Hey, I'll send you my son, and you come play a game here," or they said, "I'll take your son if you give us a game." I doubt that happened.
Maybe who knows?
It might be on. That might have been a wink, wink, nod.
Well, wink, wink, nod, nod.
But I will say this: it is a good schedule to start off because you don't toughen up a basketball team playing a lot of patsies. And what I hear on the schedule is not only good teams, but they play different styles. So that gets you ready and gets you toughened up for the conference season, which will be another tough one in the SEC.
All right, let's jump to Melvin in Johnston, who has a comment about week 0. Melvin, welcome to Sports Talk. How you doing?
Doing fine. How are you?
Good.
The reason there is a week 0, if you look at most of your high school schedules, they have a bye week in the middle of the week. So by the time they reach week 10, everyone should have 10 games.
Mm-hmm. I see that. I understand that. But, I mean, the NFL has bye weeks. They don't start on week 0.
Just call week 11. Just call week 10, week 11.
Well, I'll tell you the reason why I think they should keep week 0, and that is get a sponsor for it. And there's only one sponsor you can get for it.
Coke Zero?
Boom.
Look at Pro being the ever-present capitalist over here. We'll hear from Dabo Sweeney after Clemson's scrimmage today on Sports Talk. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. So, Cornblute, you steered me wrong today.
In which way?
Well, you have talked up this barbecue joint in Bishopville like it's nectar of the gods.
Very good place.
And I was very, very excited to go there today after my return from Darlington, and I come to find out that they were closed.
Well, that's because it's a fine dining
barbecue
place.
Yeah, I know.
Any good barbecue place is only open a couple of days a week.
I've come to find that out since moving here. So then I tried to go to a barbecue joint in Darlington, downtown there, that was highly rated on Yelp, and they were closed for a private event. So then I went to Nick's Barbecue and Drive-In just off of the downtown of Darlington, and I tell you, I didn't hate it. Very good pork. Enjoyed it.
You just have to roll down your windows and smell for the smoke.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, talking about, fitting those back sides into those new seats at Darlington, you might want to remeasure yourself after eating that lunch today.
Look at you. Look at you. You always got to come in with the snark, man.
He's going on the treadmill tonight.
800-956-7266. Corn.
Let's go to Glenn in North Charleston, who's standing by for us. Hello, Glenn. And then we've got Dabo Sweeney coming up.
Oh, okay. I gotta do it before him because that'd be like the state address. But anyway, Will, you look fine, man.
I appreciate it.
Barbecue. I'll buy you one. You just come on to Roberts down here, Charles.
Consider that invite taken and ready to go.
Amen. So you're ready to go, and all y'all, be glad.
Are you picking up the tab? Wait a minute. Are you paying?
Yeah.
Well, let's get a time and a date.
Yeah. So y'all treat y'all to good barbecue.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
It's mustard, though.
I love it. I love the mustard. I actually like the mustard base more than I like the tomato base.
Oh yeah, me too. Love that.
Big fan.
And Phil, you heard any more about is the team acting okay with the practice? I heard they had some difficult stuff going on. They can't get their act together, or
which team is this you're talking about?
Yeah, Carolina Gamecock.
No, I think that like every team, almost every team, they got issues to deal with. The safety position, I think, is first and foremost on the hit list for Will Muschamp to fix, and they're working on that by moving some people back there. I think everywhere else you look at them, they look good at quarterback as long as Bentley's upright. Offensive line looks solid. Running backs are deep. Receivers are deep. Defensive line is okay, but I think they need a little more depth and size. Linebackers, I think, are good. Corners, I think, are good. Safeties are a question mark. Maybe not as where Montauk is playing. Kicking game is a question mark at place kicker. Punter is excellent. Return game with Debo back should be excellent. So, it's a team that's pretty well put together.
The problem with South Carolina is the same problem they had going into last year, just at different positions, and that was positional depth. And they have highly touted players who are coming in at places such as defensive tackle and in the secondary. They just don't have either experience in college or experience with the Gamecocks. And that part of it is going to have to be a hard question they answered. They answered it with a lot of players last year who contributed in ways that we didn't expect them, like Javon Kinlaw, like Jamias Williams, and even guys like Keyshawn Nixon, who basically rose to the occasion, Sherrod Green as well, and even DJ Wanham, who got himself some very high accolades going in after his sophomore season. But the fact remains, Corn, that while they are set at some of those positions that they helped fill last year, they have more that they have to fill, especially at defensive tackle and safety.
I will say this, though. I think every team, even the best teams, don't know what kind of depth they have until the season starts. Because if that was the case, why did we see all those freshmen on both sides of the ball at Georgia and Alabama playing in the national championship game? You don't know what kind of depth you have until those youngsters
I would
get some sea legs under.
I would tell you, but then I'd get in trouble with Carolina fans again for saying why.
I think
because they shop at a different grocery store than Carolina does. I'm sorry.
Yes, and no, because if they were all that good, all of them would make the NFL, and some of them don't. Some walk-ons come in the NFL, played at some podunk university, and they make the grade, and the Alabama guys sent home.
It's fine. It's fine.
I think that when Georgia comes to Columbia in week 2, yes, they might shop at a different grocery store, as you like to put it, but South Carolina is not chopped liver.
No.
And I think a good South Carolina team, which I think this will be, always plays Georgia well in Columbia. They rise up for that game. They have the emotional high of the fans behind them. They should both be coming off of season opening wins. And so I look for that game to really be a fourth quarter game. And if I were a betting man, which on occasion I am, but I do not offer free advice. But if I did, and the spread is 14, jumping all over it, jumping all over it right now.
Meanwhile, at Clemson, they were scrimmaging again today at Death Valley. Here's a little bit from Dabo Sweeney on what was a more even played scrimmage between the two sides of the football.
It was really good. We got a lot done. The defense I thought had a better focus today. Today was more competitive. I can't really say one side just won the day. I kind of like it that way. I mean, it was very competitive on both sides. Offensively, too many mistakes from a discipline standpoint. Just jumping off sides. We're very undisciplined right now. That's an offense when it comes to staying on side. I mean, our receivers. I mean, we got multiple receivers jumping off side. Got tight end jump off side. We got a tackle jump off side. I mean, just things that can't happen. Those are, not second and 8, it goes second and 13. And that's just first down, first and 10, now it's first and 15. So just some critical errors that way. But really a lot of good things, though. I really am pleased with what I saw. I thought Adam Choice was awesome today. It was by far his best day. Really, really productive. And, but the other three all had a really nice day as well. But I thought Adam really just kind of stood out today. I thought the defense did a better job today of winning some of those 50-50 balls that they did not win the other day. I don't think they like seeing themselves go viral on social media. So there were I thought the defense won the majority of the 50-50 balls today. Of course, Trayvon back today as well. He was back in the mix, and he's a pretty good player to throw back in there. But really, just overall, I think we got a lot accomplished. We did make a game-winning kick with Hugo on a 2-minute situation. Did 2-minute opportunities, one touchdown to win it, one field goal to win it. We did last plays. We kind of went through all the field zones, balls on 30, balls on 15, balls on the 5, 2 seconds on the clock, last play of the game. Just what's the offense got to do? What's the defense need to expect? So, again, good day, got a lot done. Now we need to take this tape and we need to go another step. And then Thursday we'll come out and have one more good scrimmage, and then we're going to start kind of changing the tempo a little bit.
With the pressure on, what did you see out of your quarterbacks today?
They did a good job. I thought that today as a whole, as a group, really across the board, that's one thing I mentioned to them. I mean, we had some really nice plays, but today I thought we had too many no touches. And what I mean by that is we got some zip code wideouts, just kind of get it in the zip code. And we were out of the zip code too many times today, where, you got a pressure throw and all that type of stuff, but 100% of the balls they don't touch, they don't catch. I know that. Coach wideouts my whole life. If you touch it, you catch it. I'm always on the quarterback side. But if you can't touch it, you can't catch it. And so we had too many no touches today, where we got to give those guys, make sure we give them a chance to make a play. We made the right read, right decision, and but guy didn't touch the ball. It was a little long or a little off target, whatever. But we've been really good all camp. But today I thought it was just too many zeros where we didn't have a chance to make a play.
Would we be zip code wideouts, Corn? Is that how that works?
We would be zip code, area code wideouts, I think, when it comes to trying to catch a football. That's a new phrase I've never heard before.
Dabo, he always has one.
Now back to Sports Talk, South Carolina's most listened to sports talk show for more than 30 years.
Continuing our discussions on South Carolina, Clemson, and the like. Corn's recruiting report in mere moments. And also, we are continuing our Palmetto Pigskin preview tour from Newberry. We'll check in on Todd Knight and the folks up there in just a moment. 800-956-7266 is the phone number. We are brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Whether it's low rates or high rewards, using select Founders credit cards on clothes, school supplies, a new computer, even college tuition will help prepare your kids for their first day of school. Apply online at foundersfcu.com/visa.
We will also have, in the latter part of the show tonight, former USC All-American golfer Kyle Thompson, who is playing at the Wyndham Championships in Greensboro this week. And he tweeted out earlier this week that he's down to one last PGA Tour start to prolong his golf career. And he said this year has been crappy, but these 17 years of pro golf have been a blast. I'm totally at peace with whichever path lies ahead for me, and I embrace the challenge. So he's going to join us in the latter stages of the program to talk about just that. Will this be his final PGA Tour events as he looks down that road at the age of 39 about what he wants to do in the future?
Also in our second hour, we will talk to the governor of the great state of South Carolina, Henry McMaster, his comments from earlier today at Darlington Raceway, talking about the capital campaign improvement for the racetrack that's there. And also our usual spot with Kerry Tharp will be done in person as opposed to over the phone with my conversation from earlier today.
Excellent. Let's go to Alex in Myrtle Beach, get back on the phones here for a little bit. Alex, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
Wonderful, thank you. Well, I just have a question and a comment. But before I start all that, and then I'll get off some of it. Before I start, just Corn, I completely agree. I'm not saying the Gamecocks are going to win, definitely not. But Georgia definitely does not cover the spread.
No.
My first, yeah, absolutely not. Anyway, my first question. I know you're probably going to hate it. You're not going to like it. It's not popular. Quick question. I'll make a comment, but I think a lot of quarterbacks come into like any other position, but you know what? I think a lot of times if a quarterback comes in, you have to pamper him, and he's getting ready for the next level. But whatever happened is it's not out of bounds or out of the thought process to have a 2-quarterback system for a while, like at Clemson. I know it's not popular at all. I'm asking. They hate it. No one likes it, but can you not make it work? I know people always say it doesn't. And then I got a quick comment. I come from Myrtle Beach. Actually, I'm just west of Myrtle Beach, way out in the country. I just moved out here from Charleston, and I'm taking a sabbatical from work. And I've listened to your show for the past 25 years, love it. And I find now I take a sabbatical from work. I have all day to either go play golf, fish, take little day trips. And I'm gonna do something. I've been listening to your show. I'm gonna do it. I'm really gonna do it. I'm gonna drive. Take little day trips. I'm going to go to Latta, South Carolina.
Don't blink.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, go to Latta and make an hour out of it. Not a day out of it, but make an hour out of it.
Go to Schuler's Barbecue.
Well, there's a barbecue joint there called Schuler's. And listen, I've been working in food and beverage in Charleston the past 25 years. Best restaurants in the world in Charleston. I've traveled Europe. And, people in food's great. I tell you, barbecue, I rarely eat it. I rarely do. But it's some of the best food in the world. One last thing, you had Governor on, Henry McMaster. I saw him in the debate. I'm saying which way I voted, but he said South Carolina. So this place is a paradise. I'm out here looking over out of the country. South Carolina is a paradise, and tell him I appreciate him saying something like that because it really is. The people are great. Your show's great, and I'll get off and listen and have a nice night.
We've been doing a lot of free pub for a lot of barbecue places in the state here, Corn.
They should start sending us coupons or something.
Or just send us food, man.
Yeah, the Hogs are going to start to protest.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, as that call was continuing, I was growing more and more insanely jealous. I mean, can you think of anything better outside of listening to Sports Talk than being in the Myrtle Beach area, wherever he happens to be, playing golf every day, sitting on the beach, not doing a daggone thing.
Eating Schuler's barbecue.
Huh.
It's pretty good.
Tell you what, there's a lot worse you could be doing. Doing recruiting.
I wish I enjoyed my sabbatical more than it seems that Alex is, at least from that perspective.
Well, let's get to recruiting because there is no sabbatical from recruiting. Now, is there? No, I don't think so.
I don't have one of these throwaway lines ready for that.
Well,
one.
those who take a sabbatical and don't recruit, they usually don't coach too long.
That's right. All right, so we've talked about Dedrick Holmes of Evans, Georgia before, and he's got a USC offer, and Clemson has had contact with him. He was the interception leader in the state of Georgia last year with 9, and he says he's hearing a good bit from the Gamecocks at this point. He camped there this summer. He plans a return visit for the Georgia game, and he said he's talked to Will Muschamp and Travaris Robinson last week, and they like the way that he sees the field and the way he comes downhill. He makes tackles. He says he's the best open field tackler in the CSRA. That's his opinion of himself. And so he's talking with them. He's also heard from Mickey Kahn of Clemson, the safeties coach. He said he was in touch last week, and they plan to scout him once the dead period ends. They like his ball hawking abilities, his length, his wingspan, which he says is 78 inches. He's also grown a good bit since his sophomore year when he was 180. He's now up to 205. He's not been to Clemson. It's a trip he'd like to take. He also has an offer from Liberty. He's also hearing from Auburn and Troy. Plans to make a decision around mid-season. To basketball, 6'11" Malcolm Wilson of Ridgeview announced over the weekend his final 3, Clemson, Georgetown, and Rice. He'll take an official to Rice the end of the month and one to Georgetown 2 weeks later. He's not yet set the Clemson date. He said each school offers him a little something different, but there's a common element to each program that is attractive to him. Of course, Georgetown, the athletics, the academics, Patrick Ewing recruiting him. Rice, he said, definitely academics. In Clemson, same things, and also the fact that Clemson is in the state and they've been recruiting him the longest and the hardest, and Brad Brownell has really been working him a long, long time, and so that's a positive for Clemson in this case. But Georgetown with Patrick Ewing, hard to not listen to a guy who's a Hall of Fame center who kind of came along the same ways as Wilson has, and that is starting out kind of slow in his career and improving as he's gotten bigger and stronger. As for USC, which did offer him, he just said he did not have the feeling that he was going to be at South Carolina. He didn't want to drag it out. It was more him than them when he made the decision to cut it to 3 and not have them on that list. He's been to Georgetown and Clemson unofficially in the past, and he'll use his official visits to learn more about each in the future. Also, 6'1" point guard Tyrell Jones of Orlando had a big summer season, and he's picked up a lot of offers as a result, and Clemson was one of those, and he said the Tigers like how he is a really good shooter coming off the ball screens, and he makes plays for his teammates. He makes good decisions, and he's still learning more about Clemson. He's never been there, but he does like how they play defense, their man-to-man, and how they let their players have a lot of freedom with the ball. He's not yet trimmed his list. Offers also include Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Auburn, Oklahoma State, VCU, Ole Miss, Minnesota, Mississippi State. And those are some of the other offers for him. There you go with recruiting for now. Remember to check it out on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and on Twitter. Use the hashtag STRecruiting to take you to our recruiting information, and also the recruiting information that we retweet of those that we are allowed to retweet.
Where are you? Where are you taking your official visit for dinner tonight in Newberry?
Oh, I'll probably be official dinnering back at the homestead.
Oh.
I deep fried a chicken this morning before I left the house, and I'm kind of interested in, and I threw some ingredients in there on it, so I'm kind of interested in checking that out when I get home.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm a deep frying fool. I mean, I did
you
fish
do
the other
love
day.
to fry. I do understand that. You love to fry.
It's the one thing I have in common with Glenn Fry, the late great. Didn't he pass away?
He did.
Yeah.
What about
That's what we have in common.
What about
he has the name Fry, and I like to fry.
What about Hayden Fry? I'm just kidding.
Got that in common too. Yeah. Can we get off the food thing for crying out loud?
No, let's go to Newberry. We'll check in on the Wolves. Head coach Todd Knight joins Corin for our Palmetto Pigskin Preview Tour stop at Newberry. Coming up next on Sports Talk.
2 of Sports Talk up next with your hosts Phil Kornbluth, Will Pelagic, and the Professor Tom Hayes. Don't leave us hanging. Join the show, 800-956-7266.
We are back, Sports Talk, on a traveling Tuesday night. The Palmetto Pigskin Tour settling in at beautiful Newberry College, where the Wolves have already worked out this morning, but they're going to go for a little run later on in the evening as they continue to prep for the upcoming season, which begins for them September 1st at Western Carolina. Not an easy start. Then a trip to Florida Tech. Carson Newman in week 4 as Coach Todd Knight joins us here. And it's good to see you once again.
It's good to see you, my friend. Thank you for coming up today.
You must have been in a bad mood when you put this schedule together.
Yeah, no question. I appreciate my AD helping me with that.
Yeah. Tough start.
Yeah, that's a challenge. No question about it. I mean, it's a measuring stick for us coming right out of the gate. We'll know what we got.
One thing I'm hearing about your team in camp is an emphasis on running the football more and better. What are you doing with that?
Well, I think Todd Barnes, our new offensive coordinator, and Todd brings a different mentality to the game on the offensive side of the ball, a little tougher mentality and hard-nosed, old school, so to speak. And we're going to establish the run and punching holes in it and moving the chains, and that'll give the quarterback an opportunity to take advantage of some things that the run game will open up for him.
Now, this is a little bit different from what you've done in the past because you've had quarterbacks who were very good passers, right, and you relied on that. So is this more of a decision made because of the personnel you're working with?
It is, and also what Coach Vaughn brings to the table. And I like it. I think the old school attitude of pounding the rock, so to speak, and just having that tough mentality, going out and we're gonna hammer it, and it's gonna open up some things for us. And we got 2 guys at quarterback right now that's got a ton of reps under their belt, Nick Jones and Greg Ruff, both very talented kids. At times they've both played very well. At times they've struggled, but you can see the maturity level rising in both kids, and our run game is coming along looking good. So I'm hoping that it'll all gel here in a week or 2.
You rushed for about 170 yards per game last year, which is not bad.
Not bad.
That's third in your league. So, right. I mean, what would you expect for this year? What's the benchmark?
Well, obviously I'd like to be a little better than that, but, just controlling the game, controlling the sticks, eating the clock, taking a little pressure off the cue. You don't have to go out there and win it all every day. You're surrounded by a very good cast, some talented kids. Let's take advantage of it, distribute the ball, move the chains, flip the field. We got a seasoned defense, and that's a pretty good crowd. Let's let them do their job.
Are you going to be leaning on your defense maybe a little bit more? Because last year you only gave up 314 yards per game, second best in your league, and a lot of those guys are back. Do you lean a little heavier on those guys?
Probably so, Phil. We do have an older crowd, a lot of all-conference kids on the defensive side of the ball, very talented crew. So there's no question. That's where our strength lies at this point.
Yeah, one of those guys is Joe Blue, who we'll be talking to, a young man from Dillon who originally committed to South Carolina, ended up at your place, and is having a great career for you. What do you like about him, and what kind of senior leader do you expect him to be?
Joe's been a great one for a long time around here. He's going into his senior year. He started for 3 years in a row now, all conference, all everything. He's Order of the Gray Stripe. That's a leadership council for us. So, he's it. I mean, he's team captain. He's the guy that when he stands up and talks at practice, everybody falls in line. Everybody listens. Even old Gray Wolf like me. I'll get in line and follow Joe Blue.
What do you like about his game?
I love the way the kid plays it. I keep going back, throwing this term out there, the old school. He is an old school inside linebacker if there ever was one.
Yeah.
The kid's got a great mind for the game. He loves it in the box. He'll get nasty, but he's also athletic enough that you can bounce him out of the box, and he can cover a number 2 receiver, which a lot of inside backers that play in that box, they can't do that. If you get him outside the box, it's a mismatch. You can take advantage of him, but not Joe.
You're not afraid to line him up on a receiver?
Not at all. I mean, at practice, he proves it every day that he can cover.
Yeah.
And that's a rarity. It really is.
So your quarterback position, you mentioned 2. Are you going to be a platoon system?
I don't think so at this point. I think both of those kids are battling for the starting job. One day one may practice a little bit better than the other. One may have a little more control and mastery of the offense than the other, but then the next day, the next kid will come back, and that competition back and forth, that's going to breed a winner for us.
Do you have a front runner right now?
Greg has been the guy up front, but Nick is not going away lightly, and he will not. He will battle for that job all the way to the end.
Now, these are a couple of guys that throwing the football, Greg 57% completion, Nick 50%, but he threw 7 picks last year. Of course, I imagine some of that was due to inexperience.
True, and I think with Rough Kid, I don't think he threw a pick at all. 11 touchdowns, no picks. So, he's coming off of a pretty dang good year for a kid. It just, okay, look, you're coming off the bench. You're going to help us. And he did last year. And those snaps under his belt, that experience, it's going to pay off for us this season.
And so leading your receiving core will be Markel Castle.
Markel, where I look at Joe Blue and I think, in my mind and on paper, if you look at it, he's the best linebacker in this league. I look at it the same way with Markel. He's the best receiver in this league. There's hands down. And the kid can flat get it done.
Where is Markel from?
York.
He is from York. That's right. That's right. Played for Bobby Carroll.
That's right.
How much is it? Like 99% of your team is made up of South Carolinians?
It is true. We've got a kid or two here and there scattered around Georgia. We've got one from Alabama, a kid or two from Florida. But, Phil, with us, recruiting budget's tough. The state's been good to us. My staff, basically the entire staff is from the state of South Carolina. We believe there's enough kids here that you can win with. We've proven that over the years. But going outside the borders every once in a while, most of it for us, those kids come to us. We don't really get in the car and go to Florida. We just don't have the resources.
Sure. But you find enough good talent in the state to stock your roster.
Absolutely. We take a lot of pride in saying that we win with the South Carolina kids.
Sure, absolutely. Talking with Todd Knight, head coach of Newberry here on the Palmetto Pigskin Tour at Newberry College. And so I drive up and I'm thinking, okay, it's time to see that new Newberry press box and football field. And I'm still waiting.
And you see the old girl we got out there she's still kicking. And, I look out there and sometimes I wonder where that new one is as well, Phil. But something, we've won a lot of ball games and that old girl out there, and we're going to keep doing it until somebody one day pulls the trigger. We're going to keep fighting right out there.
You're getting close, maybe?
I think so. I can't speak for institutional advancement, but I'm hearing good things. So hopefully.
Would it make a big difference in your program? I mean, look, you're still going to recruit the state of South Carolina. You're still going to get the same kind of players, aren't you?
We are, but something, Phil, I think the kids deserve better, to be quite honest with you. I think the kids deserve it. And, the kids like Joe Blue that's been here his whole career, I would have loved to have seen Joe play his senior year in a beautiful new stadium. Kid deserves that, and I think it's time for Newberry to step up and let's get it done.
Absolutely. How do you like the league race, and where do you see yourself fitting in?
Well, I think we're exactly where we're supposed to be. We didn't have a great year last year, and it haunts me at night when I'm sleeping that we had a losing record, but it motivates me at practice every day as well. And I think we're right where we belong. We're the team that. What we do best is surprise you. What we do best is shock you. And I think where we are, voted 4th in the league, is right where we belong.
When you least expect it, Newberry rises to the top.
And that's what our kids do, and I expect us to do it this year.
Carson Newman, the team to beat going in?
I think so. They got a ton of kids back. I think that's why they got the nod over winning it, obviously. But they lost a bunch of kids. And Carson Newman's got a ton of guys back, so I think that's why they got the nod.
So you look at your schedule. You get Carson Newman at home, Lenore Ryan at home. You get Wingate at home.
Right.
So you are getting some of the better teams in your league here.
Early in the race right here against, Western Carolina, Florida Tech, two of the best teams on our schedule. There's no question. And both of them tough road games back to back. That's tough. That's what makes that a hard one right there. But, coming back home, when you get into conference play, everybody's so close. The pairing in it is ridiculous. You got to be ready to play every week, no matter what. So Carson Newman having a ton of kids back. We beat them up there at their place last year. Having them here is just great, because that is a tough team. Beating them up there is a rarity. We've done it here in the last couple of years. So having them back home, you feel a lot better about that one.
Well, we know that's going to be a big ball game, and good luck to you going into the season. We'll be back to see you during the season. And hope things go well. And we'll be talking to you throughout the campaign.
Thanks, sir. We appreciate you coming up.
Always a pleasure. Coach Todd Knight from here at Newberry College with the Newberry College Wolves. And coming up, we got a couple of those players coming in to visit with us here on Sports Talk. We'll be right back.
This is the place to talk Tigers, Gamecocks, and more. Sports talk across the state on the South Carolina Radio Network.
And we continue from Newberry College here on the Palmetto Pigskin Tour for 2018. Tomorrow night, we'll be just up the road at Presbyterian College. Can I get a boo on the blue hose? Can I get a boo?
Ew, man. Ew.
We are joined by a couple of the standout Wolves here at Newberry. We've got all-conference performers in Joe Blue, linebacker, and Markel Castle at wide receiver. I got to start with Joe. because we're kind of from the same neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're from Dillon.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to forgive you for that.
Oh, that's Dillon County.
Dillon County. And I'm from Latta, because you know the hot
Great,
spots
man.
in Dillon County start in Latta, right?
Mhm.
Did you ever visit Latta while you were in Dillon?
I have friends in Latta.
Yeah.
Play AAU basketball with people that's from Latta. So.
Yeah. Throw a name out there. Do you remember?
RJ McClellan.
Yeah. Did you ever play against Raymond Felton?
No, he way older than me. That's years. Yeah,
You couldn't hang with Raymond, man. Come on.
No, not on the court. Not on the
You couldn't
court.
hang with
No,
Raymond.
no.
Yeah. Well, you, I tell you what, you are a great story because you've come to Newberry. You've had a great career.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to leave here as one of the all-time best. How do you feel about what you've done here in your career?
I'm blessed. I never thought I was gonna play again. After the situation I had with USC, I never thought I would play again. So I can't tell you how I feel. I'm filled with joy. I'm happy. I'm blessed to be here. Thanks, Coach Knight, for the opportunity and Newberry staff. So I'm fine with that.
How down were you after things didn't work out with the Gamecocks?
I was so down. It was like I couldn't cry about it because when I look back, I blame myself for a lot of things that I did wrong, like as far as class-wise. But it's a bittersweet moment. Like, wish I was being there with some of the guys, the opportunities being D1. But coming here really changed my life. So
you've made the best of it.
Yes, sir.
What do you like about your game now? What are you doing? What are you doing well?
Well, I study a lot of film. And I used to be in high school. I was kind of a bigger guy, so I was more in the box. I like playing outside. I'm more of a cover linebacker, so that's why I'm trying to develop that every day.
Hey, Markel, a coach said that Joe can run with receivers. Can he run with you and cover you?
When I'm tired.
Oh, we do. I know. Oh,
he has some pretty solid plays against me, and then sometimes,
yeah,
I gotta let him know.
It's not easy. It's not easy now, covering a guy like 30 pounds listening to you, or 20 pounds.
I was working over the summer, man. I gained a few.
Yeah. You look chiseled. You look ready to go. Now you're out of York. You played for Bobby Carroll.
Yes, sir.
Give a shout out to Coach C.
What's up, Big C?
Yeah, he's a big guy. Ain't no doubt about it. Tell me about the offense. Maybe you don't want to hear this. You're talking about running the ball more. Does that mean you got to block more?
I mean, I'm down with whatever the team needs to win. We got a lot of young guys coming up, filling up some big shoes, and I'm very excited about this offense, and I'm just ready when the season progresses, what we can do. So it's just something we want to wait and see and keep working on and see what happens.
What have you worked on since last year to make you a better player?
Well, obviously I try to build up my upper body strength, blocking linebackers and corners, making it easier for me. My route running as well, getting in and out of my cuts, and working on my hands as usual. So
we saw the highlights. I mean, how much did you hear about that catch once it made ESPN? I mean, who did you hear from? How many people were trying to get in touch with you?
It was crazy because I knew it was a great catch, but I didn't know it was gonna blow up.
Yeah.
When I told the interview before, I was telling them that it was kind of like an overnight thing.
Yeah.
Because I slept on it, good game. Then I woke up and my phone was just blowing up. Hey, yo, you on ESPN? You on ESPN?
Yeah.
And I kind of looked at it. I was like, dang, I'm on ESPN. But
have you tried to recreate it?
No. It wasn't on purpose. It was just that
happened.
situation. Usually, Coach always tell me go up with two hands, so that's what I try to do.
Sure. 39 catches last year. Have you set some goals for this year?
Yes, I'm very hard on myself. So, every year I try to put a 1,000-yard mark on my name. Try to be more explosive with the ball, making plays after the catch. So pretty much just making someone miss and going to score.
Taking it to the house.
Yes, sir.
Joe, you guys were good on defense last year.
Yes, sir.
About 314 yards allowed per game, and you got a lot of guys back.
Sir.
How can you improve in that? Where do you see this defense being, compared to the rest of the league this year?
We just got to elevate every game. We can't. In my high school, my coach always talk about being the top of the mountain. In reality, you can't go any higher. So when you at the top, you can't go nowhere. But in the mindset, you have to keep going. But what I'm saying is, for us, we have to be better, every day, consistent. There's no ups and downs. We can't have that. Everybody have to have the same mindset. every day we're gonna compete with each other. We're gonna make each other better as men and as our teammates. So,
what do you like about the way this defense operates? I mean, do they set it up where the linemen keep the blockers off the linebackers so you guys can make the plays, or how does it work for you guys?
Exactly how you explained it. You know, most of our defense is surrounded by a linebacker. So,
have you set some personal goals for this coming season?
Kind of, sort of. I just really want a taste of the national championship. You know,
Yes.
I'm not looking past the SAC championship or looking ahead, but how I grew up in Dillon, we used to win in the big low. So just getting a slice of the bread really don't. You know, that don't fill me up. Like I want
the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
You were part of that group at Dillon that had that quarterback that was pretty good, right?
Avery McCall, man, probably one of the best quarterbacks I've seen play.
Yeah, he won 4 state championships
Yes,
as a quarterback. Nobody else has done that in state history. Markel, what about this team? As Joe mentioned, I mean, you're picked 4th in the league right now, and how do you guys approach that preseason view of you guys?
Just go out there with a mindset to have a chip on our shoulder, just like if we was last. So we don't really look at rankings that much. We just know we just take every game at a time. And I feel confident about this team. Everybody bring each other up as far as like the defense. The offense mess up, the defense is not like, they celebrate, but at the same time, they're like, yeah, we got to get it together. So, and we do that with the defense as well. So
how about starting up at Western Carolina? Southern Conference team.
I love it.
Huh?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
They're just faster opponents, like D1 don't mean anything, it just mean numbers, like it's really
you think you can go up there and compete with these guys?
Not afraid of nobody.
I love how your competition makes me excited.
Yeah.
Feel like you got something to prove. So
how about the quarterback competition? You're keeping an eye on that, I'm sure, back and forth.
Yes, sir.
Who do you think eventually emerges, if you want to venture a guess?
If I wanted to guess, I want to say Greg Ruff. He take care of the ball. I think he didn't have any turnovers last year. He's starting to be a leader and run the offense, picking the guys up. So I think he can run the show and, lead this offense.
Are there any places on defense that you guys have really had to address in the preseason, Joe, where you guys lost
it was our Willie linebacker, That's kind of really the piece to our defense, if how everything run. But I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, you guys are part of a team, a roster that's made up almost entirely of South Carolina kids.
Yeah.
How do y'all feel about sort of being South Carolina's team?
Well, I can't argue with that. There's a lot of talent in South Carolina. So that people overlook, actually. They don't think they go to Florida, Georgia, Texas, no rock to those states, but it's actually a lot of talent here. So.
Sure. Y'all kind of feel like you carry the state flag, Markel?
Yeah, I feel like we do. I feel like we represented pretty well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, y'all certainly have.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
How's practice been? Has it been
Camp's
physical?
Been rough.
Huh?
A little sore, banged up, but hey, we'll fight through it.
Yeah,
it's only gonna make us better.
Got a scrimmage coming up
tomorrow.
Big scrimmage tomorrow, huh?
Tomorrow.
They're letting you hit. They're letting you hit the quarterbacks and all that.
No. We need our quarterbacks.
No,
nobody touches.
Not even in the running game.
No.
Okay.
You can hit the running backs. No quarterback.
Yeah.
No quarterback.
Can you hit the receivers?
We need all the guys.
You can do that.
Well, listen, guys. Good luck to you this year. I think it's going to be a great year with the players you got coming back and listening to coach and listening to you guys and the talent you got. I think you got a chance to do something special.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Joe Blue from
Thank you.
Dillon
County.
Markel Castle from York.
Y-Town.
Good to have you guys with us. Good luck. We'll be keeping in touch, and we'll be right back.
Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network as we continue on a Tuesday, and it was a very amazing Tuesday over at Darlington Raceway where we were able to join not just President Kerry Tharp of Darlington Raceway, but also the governor of the great state of South Carolina, Henry McMaster, who was there to commemorate the passing of the Motorsports Act that provides $10 million of capital toward Darlington Raceway, helping to renovate the seats in an event that the governor believes is essential for the health of the state of South Carolina.
I've grown up listening on the radio, but I think my first time was a year or 2 years ago, and I was fascinated by how the sport had it seemed to me had changed so much with computers and high tech, and it was a combination of skill and courage and youth in the drivers and experience. High tech, sophisticated education and understanding of electronics, everything. They can measure the temperature of the tires. I think they have heart monitors on the drivers. It's like a space station. It really is a combination of all kinds of skills. It's really something, and courage. It is a great thing. It's much larger than a sport. It's much larger than technology. It's much larger than entertainment. It's a metaphor for what we're trying to do as a state, and it's a great thing to see.
How important is the platform that this racetrack provides and that this event provides?
I think it's a national event. It is one of a number of great attractions in South Carolina, things that make us different from other places. I mean, you can't get what you can get here at Darlington is not something that's available most places. It is fantastic to see, and I would urge those who have not been here to come and see it. And if you get a chance, go in the infield and see what I've seen. It is an unforgettable experience. And we were up there in the booth of the clubhouse of that building over there, and when we first got here a couple of years ago, and the cars were going by, and we could hear the roar of the engines, and I was asking, and they said, well, they can go up to 900 horsepower or something like that. I thought, my goodness. Anyway, then I thought, well, they're not making a whole lot of noise. Then I opened the door and stepped out on the walkway up there. It about knocked me over. but just to hear those engines and those, as Elliott Sadler mentioned, hit that curve going 160 miles an hour. It takes skill, endurance, precision, high intelligence, high innovation. It takes a lot to do what's done here in this race.
Governor, how essential was it to have the legislation passed so we could have this improvement and improvements over the next decade or so to keep this track viable?
It's very, very important because even the best operation can excel with just a little bit of help, and this is help doesn't cost anybody anything. This is just a tax credit, or it's not taking any money away from people. We're not spending money. We're just letting those who are running Darlington spend money and get a tax break while they're doing it. So it's important to do this, and this is a place, because of its unique nature in the country and certainly in the state, that is something that is good for everybody in the state.
And instead of his usual spot with us over the phone, Kerry Tharp was able to join me one-on-one for an interview, and he had a message for my co-host.
Hang on, I had a chance to actually formally meet you. You're my man every Tuesday night. My man right here, Will.
I love it.
You add sanity to that show. And you tell Kornblue that third string tailback that he says is a 3 or 4 star. Don't worry about him. We're talking about Darlington this week.
You mentioned how important of a day today was for your racetrack and for the state. How important was it?
Well, it really is important today. We've had so much support from the state of South Carolina, from the political leadership, from the Governor McMaster all the way down. And for them to weld this type of support to our track means that we're going to be here for the long haul. And there's nothing more exciting than that. You know, Darlington Raceway's been around here for almost 70 years. We want to be around here for another 270 years. And so we thank the state for their support. We thank the fans for their support. And we are so excited about the new additions that we have here at Darlington Raceway. They're going to be a game changer. we're about 2.5 weeks out from our race, and I encourage our fans to take advantage of these new seats and come out and see us here in a couple weeks.
We've talked about it on the show, but as far as just what you have coming in here that folks will see for the first time this year in a couple of weeks, what will they see when they come here?
Well, we've got new seats on both the front stretch, the back stretch. Our upper seats in Tyler, which are our best seats in the house, have a better sight line view. They're wider, they're chair back. They got the cup holders, the bleachers that we put in Wallace and Colvin. They're wider, they're more comfortable. It's a better seating, better fan experience for everybody that's going to be on property. And so we are very, very excited about that. We encourage them to take advantage of it this year. And it's going to be a better Darlington. And that's how we've trumped this from the very beginning, a better Darlington. And we're excited about it.
When it comes to, having the state senators, state house representatives, the governor out here, I mean, that kind of just arms power, that support has to mean a lot.
Well, it does, and it's a process that you have to follow to get through the session, the legislative session. It starts in late January and ends in early May, and so, we've had such support from Speaker Jay Lucas, Senator Gerald Malloy, Robert Williams, Senator Hugh Leatherman. I could go on, but the folks, particularly here in the PD area, are so supportive of this racetrack. That means the world to us. And for the governor to take time out of his busy schedule, him and the first lady to come out here today means a lot to us.
I know that we've talked about this on the show about, people wondering about the health of the sport. What kind of a statement does it make for the health of the sport, at least in this state, that you have such backing and support?
Well, we put on one of the premier sporting events in this state, and we're fortunate to be able to do that. This state is such a wonderful state. I've lived here now about 38 years in this state, and I call it home. I love the state of South Carolina. I love the people in South Carolina. And to be able to put on an event of this magnitude where so many people enjoy coming here Labor Day weekend and the thrill that they get out and the impact that it has on the state and the region, that means a lot to us. It's also a responsibility for us to put on the best event that we possibly can.
Having stood on a couple of these tracks, knowing the way the asphalt goes, one of the things Elliott Sadler was saying is that this track is very unique in the fact that it does have kind of the grooved asphalt. What does make Darlington unique in your mind, aside from the asphalt that we stand on here at the start-finish line?
Well, we're kind of like the Wrigley Field of NASCAR. We might not be the fanciest track. We might not be the most modern track, but by golly, we're the coolest track on the circuit. And the history, the folklore, the stories, all the tradition that goes into this racetrack is, makes it special. And everybody wants to win the Daytona 500. There's no question. That's our Super Bowl. But I can tell you that a close second behind that is the Bojangles Southern 500. People want to win this race, and we consider it one of the majors in our sport, and we're proud of that.
Last one for you, just from NASCAR as a whole. You mentioned the partners there, your bosses, if you will. How do you think their response has been to the way that this race has evolved, not just into a throwback weekend, but a weekend to celebrate the entire sport?
Well, I think that the folks down in Daytona, our parent company, International Speedway Corporation, couldn't have been more supportive of what they've been to Darlington Raceway. They were such a driving force behind the throwback weekend, coming back to Labor Day, all of that meshing together. This will be our 4th year with the throwback, and it's a great collaboration amongst the industry. People love coming to this race weekend. They love the excitement. They love the history, the iconic throwback weekend, and our company down there, ISC, is just a terrific company to work for, and they got great vision, and they put on great races.
19 days to go. You're ready.
I tell you what, 19 days to go. It's amazing that it gets here so quickly. I was around the track this morning, so much activity going. They're already here. People are already here setting up Hospitality Village. And so each and every day goes by very, very quickly, but each and every day is very, very important. We look forward to it.
Thanks again. Good to see you.
Thank you, Will. I appreciate you being here.
That's Kerry Tharp from earlier today. Do you have anything to say back to KT there, Corn?
Yeah, it was those third string 3 and 4 stars that made his Gamecocks 5 and 6 teams while he was there with Lou Holtz. So.
That's not nice. Why are you going to dog the man when he can't defend himself?
I'm only kidding, of course. Hey, did your Ford Fairlane take a lap around the track?
Did not.
These guys, they never sleep. Check them out on the web at SportsTalkSC.com. Now, more of Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
We do have some thanks to dole out here. Thanks to the folks at Newberry who provided once again to be fantastic hosts on our Palmetto Pigskin Preview Tour. Our thanks to Kerry Tharp and Dennis over at Darlington Raceway for hosting us for the event, not only with Kerry, but the governor and Elliott Sadler as well. Our Palmetto Pigskin Preview Tour continues tomorrow, and I've been practicing this all day, Corn. We head to Clinton to see Presbyterian College in the Blue Hose. Did I say it right? Did I say it right?
That's not bad. Not bad. Not for the first time. Clinton, just let it roll off your tongue. Clinton.
It's like the word linen, but with a C in front of it.
Correct. Clinton. Yeah.
Clinton.
Very good. Very good.
We have a pretty interesting guest coming up next, Corn, because it's somebody who's known around these parts for his golf, but he's saying goodbye, as we know.
Yeah, possibly so. Kyle Thompson, former All-American golfer at USC, who's been a long-time professional golfer since turning pro back in 2001. He tweeted out recently that he's playing in the tournament in Greensboro this week, and who knows, it might be his last on the PGA Tour. Our good friend with the PGA Tour, John Bush, put us in touch with Kyle about getting him on the show tonight. We're glad that he did so we can welcome him to Sports Talk across the state. Kyle, how are you?
Hey guys, how you doing?
We're good. We're good. Good to have you. Good to have you with us. So, I saw your tweets. I mean, are you going into this event like it might be your last?
Well, I kind of am. You know, it's been a really fun journey. I've been doing it a while now, and unfortunately, this year has been kind of one with a lot of downs. I'm playing the PGA Tour all year and haven't really got it going. And you know, I could go back to the Web Tour if I wanted next year. I've got pretty good status because I won last year in the Bahamas, but kind of at a point in my life, I'm 39 years old. I've got 3 kids, 9, 7, and 2. And, the life out here is a real grind, and especially on the Web Tour. It's very expensive to play the tour, and it's, you can't make the money that you can on the PGA Tour. And so kind of thinking if this week doesn't go the way I want it to, I'm going to start pursuing other avenues of income. I'm going to maybe look into some real estate or possible insurance and, try to see what's out there. So
sure. Listen, we all watched the PGA Championship this past weekend and caught up in the glamour of that event and the emotions and all that kind of stuff, and the great players who are fighting it out at the end. And you kind of forget about who else is in the field and the guys that don't make the cut, don't make any money. It's not all glamour and glitz out there for everybody, is it?
No, it's not. It's fun. I mean, I made a conscious effort to have a great time this year, no matter how my golf went, and I did. I had a blast. Unfortunately, I didn't play as well as I wanted, not nearly as well as I did last year on the Web Tour, but it's definitely, it's not all, private jets and, and rock star lifestyle that you would think when all you do is watch TV and you see, especially the way Tigers treated. Man, what a tournament that was. I was pulling so hard for Tiger. But, and the game is changing. It's changing a lot. Like I said, I'm a little older. I've never been a bomber of the ball, and that's kind of where the game goes. I mean, Dustin absolutely murders it. Let's see, Brooks Koepka. I mean, everybody on the leaderboard these days, most of these guys hit it a ton. And, I've made my career off of being a good wedge player and a good putter, and which has worked great on the web. I've had 5 wins and a decent career out there, but on the PGA Tour, I just haven't putted very well, and I've had too many long irons, it seems like. So, but shit, who knows? Maybe this week I'll play great and have a great finish and move me into the web playoffs, and who knows where it could go. But that's kind of where I stand right now. So
yeah, I was going to ask you, what have you set for yourself? What kind of goal have you set for this event that might convince you to keep it rolling?
A top 10 would be amazing. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, what I'm shooting for. If I had a top 10, it would get me into at least into the web playoffs. And then if I did that and I get into that, I'd have 4 events to lock up a PGA Tour card in a different form or fashion. So that'd be a great week. And I mean, who knows? It's funny. I was just texting with Connor Shaw the other day because he is now kind of setting up a quarterback school up in Greenville where I live, and he's also selling some insurance, I believe. And so I was texting a little bit with him. I was thinking, man, maybe we should set up some sort of Gamecock insurance, sell to all the Gamecock fans out there in the state. I know we got a lot of them. So.
Kyle Thompson, PGA Tour professional, Gamecock Hall of Fame golfer, joining us here on Sports Talk. What is the, I guess, biggest change in difficulty? Is it the courses? Is it the fairways? What's the biggest change when you go from, say, the collegiate level to, the web.com to obviously what you see on the PGA Tour weekly?
Well, I would say from the collegiate level up, the biggest changes are, I would say, that is the weather and the pin placements. Maybe not the weather as much as the pin placements. They really tuck them in the pro level, especially the upper level. And, it's amazing how low guys shoot, even with the pins all free from the edges, and you miss it a little short-sighted on the left side of the left pin and you've got nothing. And so that's where you got to be really good at picking a target that's to the fat side of the green and being patient and rolling your rock, making a lot of putts. And, as a college kid, most of us coming out of college were pretty impatient and we wanted to fire at every pin. And that doesn't work that often on the PGA Tour. So, but the biggest difference between the web and the PGA, I would say the web tour doesn't grow as much rough as the PGA Tour, and the golf courses aren't quite as long. That's probably the two main differences throughout the season. You get a lot of wedge opportunities on the web, and on the PGA Tour, you've got to really be able to hit a 5-iron.
You've probably been thinking about this a little bit, but golf, just like anything else, is very addictive, and it can lure you, and it won't let you go. When you finally decide that, hey, this is the moment, I'm going to just hang up the clubs for a while, just to play for recreation, that is. But what will the one thing you think you will miss the most, and what you would think, well, thank goodness I don't have to do that anymore?
That's real easy. No doubt the biggest thing I would miss is all the relationships. Walking up and down the range, I know all the pros and their caddies and all the reps, and every city I've traveled to, I've met great, great people. I feel like I've got family scattered all over the country because of this game. And so, heck, even the world, I've met great people in New Zealand and Australia. When I played the Middle East, I met a great family I still email with. So I'd really miss a lot of that. The thing that I wouldn't miss would be a downhill left or righter, 3-footer. That's the difference between finish 10th and 18th, like a big putt that, those things, you catch on the high lip and it spins down another 4 foot coming back if you're not careful. Those sort of, those putts are the ones that are tough, and you got to really sack it up and hit a good shot. But I won't miss that at all. That's exactly what Charles Warren told me too. He retired a couple of years ago, and he was saying, "Man, I really miss the locker room talk, but I do not miss having the putt." So. But
visiting with Kyle Thompson, and in our final seconds here, as you get ready for the Wyndham, does the course in Greensboro, does it fit your game, fit your eye?
It does. I really like it, actually. I've had I think about a 30th place finish last time I played here. It's pretty narrow. It's not extremely long. So, and the greens are rolling really nice. So hopefully I can kind of get it all together this week, make a few putts, and who knows what the future holds. But I'll tell you one thing I'm really looking forward to is our Gamecock football team. I can't wait for the season to get cranked up here in a few weeks.
Indeed, it's coming quickly. But listen, good luck to you this week. Hopefully you'll do well. We can watch you through the weekend, and you'll have a decision to make about your future that might keep you in golf, at least professionally.
Yeah, you just never know what's in store, and I'm a pretty blessed guy to have all these opportunities.
Hey, Kyle, thank you very much, man. Good luck to you this week.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck, Kyle.
See ya.
You know what Kyle should do? He mentioned Connor Shaw. Okay, Connor's going to do a quarterback's camp.
Do a golf school.
If he decides to hang it up, go do a golf school up there in conjunction with the quarterback school. Quarterbacks like to play golf.
There's a lot of people trying to do golf school. There's a lot of competition with that. He has credibility, though.
Oh, no question about it. The wins on the web.com tour, that's nothing to sneeze at.
No.
All right? That's quite an accomplishment in and of itself. Okay, we have enjoyed ourselves. Thanks to Randall Stewart for putting everything together for us here as well with the coach and the players at Newberry. We'll see you from PC tomorrow night. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Pro, and thank you, Brian. See you tomorrow night.